presenter come and give what we just got today, which is an awesome education on a topic that's relatable to urban forestry. We also apply for continuing education units as part of that. So if there's certified arborists here, I think we're going to ask you to probably email us your certification number. Does that sound right, Vince? Is that how we're doing the certification?
If you are a certified arborist, there should have been an option on the meeting invite. We should be able to capture it from there.
Okay,
awesome. On the Eventbrite.
Okay, so yeah, we will be getting continuing education units for that. And then, so the remaining, usually we do our educational thing, then we do a lunch. And during lunch, we basically have a little bit of a roundtable discussion on a variety of topics. So I'll start here with what we have on the agenda here with the Regional Urban Forest Council. So just to get a little background on the Regional Forest Council, we're one of 7 statewide urban forest councils affiliated with California Urban Forest Council. And yeah, our mission is to basically just help the region with its urban forestry needs. And it's a big collaboration of nonprofits, private sector, city folks, lots of different public agencies. So it's a good mission. So with that, we have an executive committee that kind of helps steer our Regional Forest Council, and we do lots of stuff. Currently, we have our website is currently active, and I'll give props to Vince for being the guy to keep that baby going. So thank you, Vince. So that's SDRUFC.com. Lots of stuff happening there. We also now have a pretty active Facebook and LinkedIn. Definitely encouraging everybody to find us, like us, be a part of us. We also recently came up with organized bylaws. So one of the things it's 17 years of doing this. One thing that's been lacking is truly some level of structure. So the executive committee, worked pretty tirelessly to come up with a pretty good stack of bylaws and regulations that most organizations like this probably should have and be following. So there is going to be a call for officer nominations. I think it's already out, or it's going to be out. And we're looking for those nominations to be submitted by November 1st. So you can get that information on the website or on LinkedIn or on Facebook. But there's lots of opportunities for you. It's a volunteer-driven organization. The fiscal agent of this group is California Urban Forest Council. They're a nonprofit, and they basically handle the finances. We're really not a true 501c3. We're more of a kind of a pass-through sort of. But we do a lot of good stuff. We do get funding every year from the U.S. Forest Service, which it's about $2,000 a year that we get to use for projects and a variety of things that we would like to see that money put to good use. We've done multiple things over the years, including contributing to tree planting events, that money. We've bought laser thermometers to help educate decision makers with that money, t-shirts for Arbor Days, and just a variety of stuff. So we get that money fiscally, and like I said, it's about $2,000. And so we have that happening. So yeah, so we encourage you to participate. Check out that nominations thing. If you're interested in running for position, please put your name in the hat. And we're looking to move the Regional Forest Council into a more defined, organized, structural way. So did I miss anything, Vince? Does that cover the Regional Forest Council stuff? Yeah, okay. So the other thing is California Urban Forest Council. We are closely tied to them. I'll give a brief update on some of it, and I'm going to have Megan Shaw, who's she sits on the board of directors for the California Urban Forest Council. I'm going to ask her to say a little bit about them. But they currently have a few things going on that at least I'm aware of in regards to their grants that they've received from California or from CAL FIRE. They have a tree planting grant that was just awarded. It's Circle 4. It's the California Initiative to Reduce Carbon and Limit Emissions. That's the acronym Circle. But this one's called Amplify the Urban Forest, which is kind of a cool name. This one, we're looking to plant 2,000 trees. And I know Matt Ritter was mentioned. Matt Ritter's part of this grant, but 2,000 trees that are unusual, that are climate adapted trees for the various regions throughout California. But 2,000 trees in one day, and they're being nursery grown right now to be available for that event. It'll be in spring of 2022. It'll be planting in about 30 different cities and all in one day. And we have Taylor Guitar is actually helping to provide marketing as part of it. So it could have a cool little edgy marketing to it. That's part of the reason is Amplify the urban forest. It's also end of life considerations, urban wood stuff. So it's a pretty cool comprehensive grant that California Urban Forest Council got, and you can keep your eye on that. That's coming down the pipe from that standpoint. But with that, maybe Megan, if you want to unmute yourself and give a little bit of update on as far as the board and what's going on beyond that.
Sure. Can everyone hear me okay, or do I need to put my headphones with my mic on?
No, I can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay, great. So one of the things that we've been focusing on in the California Urban Forest Council lately is some strategic planning, similar to what we've kind of been working on in our regional Urban Forest Council. We have 3 different focuses. One really in particular one that I'm working on is figuring out how we can reach out to different community organizations and community groups that wouldn't typically get involved with urban forestry. They're going to be asking each region around California to come up with maybe 2 or 3 different organizations that we think would be a good fit to help us promote urban forestry in our communities, or just get involved in learning about urban forestry, planting trees. So whether that be maybe things that like we've already been, groups we've already been working with, like the Girl Scouts, or other different community organizations. The other really big focus of that is increasing diversity in our urban forestry groups. So like our boards and in both our regional and our California Urban Forest Council aren't that diverse. And so we're hoping to get more diversity and a different range of ages into our boards. So we're thinking, just doing a lot of brainstorming and trying to figure out how we can achieve that. And that's been one of the main focuses. And then there's been a lot of other, one of the other groups is focusing on fundraising, and one other on, I believe, refining our bylaws. I think that's what it is. But my big focus right now is reaching out to those community groups and figuring out how to diversify. So if anybody has any ideas for community groups to work with, or ways that we can reach out and get a bigger, a broader diversity of people involved, let me know, or let us know in our next Urban Forest executive meeting.
Awesome. Thank you, Megan. Actually, one of the updates I'm going to give regarding Tree San Diego might be touching that topic a little bit too. So awesome. Thank you for that. So I think that covers basically the first bullet item here. The next bullet item, unfortunately, Lynette Short. Lynette Short is our CAL FIRE urban forester, who unfortunately she wasn't able to be at this meeting. She's got a lot going on with fires and stuff. But I did ask her for an update, and she did tell me a few things that are happening. I gotta go back and find the text message here. Okay. So she said that, obviously the grants have been released, the new round of grants for people. Locally, we have the Tree San Diego branching out grant. And then there's 2 other statewide projects. One of them is Relief. California Relief is a nonprofit that does a lot of pass-through grants. So basically they have the ability people to apply for a California Relief grant. So that's $1.5 million worth of potential. So if there's a project that a smaller scale project that an organization would like to look at, California Relief might be a good support for that. California Urban Forest Council's Circle 4.0 grant, which I just mentioned, that's another CAL FIRE grant. That's $1.5 million, and that's going to get up and going here shortly. And then she also mentioned, as of right now, there's no word on any new funding for the new grant cycle, which is pretty unfortunate. I know with COVID and tax dollars and a lot of competing interests in Sacramento, the budget for this upcoming year is not looking very good. Fingers are crossed that there may be something that gets released, but as of right now, it's not looking too good. So we'll have to keep our fingers on the pulse of that. And then other than that, she just mentioned things are a little wild with CAL FIRE in general, fighting fires and all that stuff is definitely distracting her from the day-to-day of the urban forestry stuff, but her heart's still in urban forestry. So, so that is about the extent of the CAL FIRE update, and those two updates. SDG&E, we encourage them to participate in these meetings. They have in the past. Unfortunately, I don't think they're on the call today, but I know Vince works closely with San Diego Gas and Electric, and they're one of the largest stakeholders for urban forestry in our region. They have, like, I know Brian mentioned almost 1 million trees in their inventory, but SDG&E, I feel, is like pretty close in the amount of trees that they maintain. So Vince, you want to maybe give us a little update on what's going on with San Diego Gas and Electric?
Yeah, just you know, working through it. It's been a really interesting few months with this, just like everybody has had. SDG&E is pushing through with a lot of programs and changes to their system to help reduce the risk of fire. So there's some big projects of you know, taking out the old wooden poles that are kind of low, raising those up, using steel poles so that they're not really an issue, or not as much of an issue during fire. Of course, their helicopter, 2 of them they have that help fight wildfires. I know Sky Crane was used pretty extensively during the Valley Fire. I just saw their smaller, I think it's a Bell helicopter, more traditional looking, fighting the fire in a canyon by my house the other day. So that's really nice to see. We're moving forward with some, getting some invasive species and really inappropriate species out of the system. So one of those are the agave plants. We've gone through most of their transmission lines, the agaves, the century plants. They will shoot up a stalk that can be 30, 35, 40 feet, and they'll do that you know, between the months of April and May each year. So within 6 weeks, you have this stalk that's going to shoot up. You don't know when it's going to happen. So we've been going around using some herbicide on those to start removing those from the system, get them out of the area. That's probably about it. You know, there's a lot more on the horizon as far as helping out with tree plantings and things like that, and getting more trees back into the community through removal replacement programs that we're going to be looking at over the next couple of years. So busy and definitely exciting times.
I know, I don't know, you know, those Arbor Days are all on hold. I know SDG&E has been traditionally a big staple regionally for Arbor Day stuff. Has there been any talk about them getting back into Arbor Day world?
You know, they'll probably take a look at it first part of next year. They tend to go with sort of the traditional Arbor Days, mostly, which are in April. Still probably not quite the best time to do that, but yeah, I know that's something that they definitely want to continue.
Gotcha. Okay, awesome.
I think maybe after Tree San Diego, Ann wanted to talk about the Cape Sessions Committee.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I will just real briefly, Tree San Diego, another one of my hats that I wear is I'm on the board of directors for Tree San Diego. It's a local nonprofit here in San Diego with a mission of trying to improve urban forests through good quality trees. One of the things that they're recipient of is this a new CAL FIRE grant. This initiative is a little bit different in that it's targeting private property in disadvantaged communities. So it's a little bit of a daunting task, never done before. You know, you look at the LiDAR analysis of most of the maps, you know, really any of these urban forest studies looking at LiDAR data, the largest opportunity that continues to be shown is for enhancing canopy is on private property. Everybody looks at the city parks and the public right of way, but you know, really mathematically speaking, it's the largest opportunity of available area. So this initiative through Tree San Diego is to get trees on and into those neighborhoods and into that private property. So we've tied in a couple relationships, and Megan, this is what I was thinking about when you were saying partner groups. So one of the groups is One San Diego. They're a nonprofit that is really heavily engaged in disadvantaged communities in San Diego. And they've got a good organization and a good stream connection to the neighborhoods that, you know, Tree San Diego definitely doesn't have. So it's through their relationships into these neighborhoods that we think will have some great success. Another one, and that's for San Diego specifically. The other one is in National City. There's a group called Mundo Gardens that we've we've worked with actually in a previous grant that the city of National City received for canvassing neighborhoods to try and get trees planted in the public right of way. So now we're going to have them kind of do the same kind of project, but in a manner of trying to petition actually the private side of things. So pretty exciting, different animal for sure, especially with COVID now, going and petitioning private property owners during COVID. We'll see how that works out. During our bid application, obviously things were a little bit different. So we'll see, but we're excited that we were selected and excited to see this come to fruition and excited to be a little bit of a guinea pig for this private property, component and see where it goes. So, so yeah, that's stay tuned for that. And we'll be reporting on that as we move forward. So other than that, Tree San Diego is just a lot of initiatives they're still working on from previous grants. Tree stewardship classes that they're trying to get back to be put on. We still have some interns we're working very closely with Urban Corps on their grants to help facilitate some of the training of Corps members, and then also some of the technology pieces that Tree San Diego has for tracking the carbon stuff. That's a requirement in a lot of grants. So, and for tree inventory stuff. So yeah, pretty cool. So that's kind of Tree San Diego in a nutshell. And then with that, Anne, I know you're working on the Kate Sessions initiative. So if you wanted to unmute yourself and give us a little update on what you're up to on that front. Anne? Is she still there?
I don't see her video.
She was on the phone. Let me see
Okay.
where she's at. I don't see her at all anymore, so maybe she'll pop back in.
Okay.
One update that I'd like to give to is on for CFAB, the Community Forestry Advisory Board for the City of San Diego. It's been an interesting push by one of the council members' office to disband CFAB, Sustainable Energy Board, I think, and Wetlands Advisory Board. So their goal is to create a larger environmental advisory board. And as urban foresters, we have some pretty big concerns that our voice will be lost. So when this initially rolled out in 2019, kind of done quickly and quietly, we gave some pushback. We had a big meeting in PV where the community really came out in droves and really a lot of involvement from urban forestry environmental community across the city and county. A lot of people voiced their opinion, didn't like the idea. And then COVID hit. We kind of thought we were in the clear for a bit, but then just kind of appeared all of a sudden on the city council agenda to move forward with really no changes or no consideration of input from the environmental community. So again, we pushed back hard, made some new friends with a lot of other environmental groups, and I think it was within a day, maybe 2 days, they pulled it from the consent agenda and promised to work with us. So it was really nice to see a lot of people and a lot of new groups coming together, voicing their concern for maintaining a good urban forestry voice.
Right. I can't emphasize enough how important I think that is for almost every city should realistically have some sort of supportive board where city staff can't say it, but groups like that can.
Yeah. And there's some more meetings going on. If you're interested, let me know. I think it's either today or tomorrow. I got to check.
Can I say something about that? Because I served on CFAB as the arborist before there were any other arborists but me on the board. And I recruited other people who were arborists to serve on that board. I also served as a commissioner for an environmental commission for the city of La Mesa. And I can tell you there's a huge difference. So anybody who has doubts that an environmental commission is not going to be watered down and the tree focus won't get watered down, I can tell you it was very, very difficult to keep focused on trees when people were focused on solar technologies and insulation for homes and electric vehicles. You just had a whole different impact. And I'm not against those other things by any means, but I do think we really, really have to be unified in making sure that doesn't happen.
Yep. Yeah, that's what we were saying. It'll get watered down no matter what. So we're hoping to keep going with that. And Mike, Ann is back online if you want to.
Yeah, Ann, if you want to chime in on the Kate Sessions initiative.
I will, but first of all, endorse what Robin said, and that is that it really will get watered down. I'm actually, there's a meeting tonight with that group, with the environmental advisory, with environmental groups, and one of the things we're going to do is do a survey of what people are interested in. So, and that's one where we can really clearly see you've got abiotic air and water, and then you've got biotic factors, and then you've got people, and you've got sectors like energy. When you start mapping this stuff out, you realize, like Robin says, if you put all your energy over in energy, not to be a pun, then, you know, are you really going to be addressing vegetation, which is natural, invasive, urban, parks, etc. So it's very large, and I think that what we're doing with this process is going to make that clear, that it needs to be grouped in some way. I don't know how to group it, but it's not all one big piece by the time we're done. Anyway, so yeah, we have another meeting tonight on that. So on Kate Sessions, we started this thing with healthy trees for healthy neighborhoods, and then we went to looking at modeling this after Kate Sessions, who planted 100 trees a year as her arrangement with the city. You know, I should ask, are there any quick questions for Vincent or I on that environmental advisory board?
I mean, obviously, if you guys have some suggestions on what we as the Regional Forest Council can do to support or better support, or, you know, whatever we can do, you know, we're kind of we're all of two different groups here, but if there's a way that letters or anything that you feel be appropriate from this group to support that, we're here for you. Okay, well, the next stage is to be engaged in the process. And so, yeah, for stakeholder groups like Regional Urban Forest Council to definitely participate in both the meetings and surveys and such. So, yeah, thank you. All right, back to Kate Sessions. The idea that we would plant 100 trees in various communities, continuing her legacy. We've got a website up and running. It's called katesessionstrees.org. We have quite a few Regional Urban Forest Council folks that have participated. Robin, Rochelle, Delia. Delia's absolutely an amazing contribution by pulling together people, 5-gallon trees that are going to be purchased at Walter Anderson as a retail nursery from Village Nurseries wholesale. The idea is that the 5-gallon will be very affordable, 20 to 40 bucks, and then people can dig a smaller hole, put it in their backyard, and we really get trees going. So we're also promoting the city programs like the Request a Free Tree and what it takes to do that. So kind of, you know, help us promote that. And so the stage that we're in right now is really inviting community engagement, trying to get directly into some of those community groups. And that could be things like HOAs, it could be disadvantaged communities groups, environmental health coalition, etc. And then that will be outreach and education. And then for those who want to do healthy neighborhoods, we're going to say, here's a tool you can use, you can plant trees. So it's kind of trying to really get the spirit of the trees going. And I've never seen in the years I've been in the Urban Forest Council, which is since its beginning, that we've had more relevancy with trees. So we're really connecting climate to heat, urban heat, to health, to shade, to trees, and then all of the equity issues that go with that. So it's moving, and it's meant to be kind of a community-based organization or a process as a campaign, not a separate organization. So stay tuned, and please do become one of the folks that promotes it and participates and gains from it. That's my piece. Awesome. And thanks, Ann, for being a driver of that. I know you're passionate about it, and it's awesome. And just thank you for your continued energy towards a great cause like that.
I'm looking for a place to be. I might just
So it's funny. Hey, I heard you mention Delia while she's on the forefront. Yesterday was our dear Delia's birthday was yesterday, so I want to give Delia some birthday love. So happy birthday, Delia. Okay, so I guess the remainder, we have about 20 minutes or so. The remainder of our time is kind of a little bit of an open forum. If anybody wants to unmute, and I know there's been some typing questions, we can use the remainder of our time just to kind of chime in, a little open mic. There's about 20, 24, 25 people left on the call. If you guys have any issues or initiatives that you're dealing with that you think be worthy to have a quick little dialogue on, we're here as a support group for you. And how can the Regional Forest Council help you with whatever you're up to? So
I just wanted to let everyone know that we are now seeing palm weevil damage on some new species in Balboa Park. I'm pretty sure I have my first fatality on a Phoenix reclinata. And also the Jabea chilensis, Chilenes, chilensis.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Bummer.
not great, not good news. I'm gonna send over some photos to pretty sure it's Hodel, not Hoddle. The one
Mark Hoddle. You had it right the second time. Mark Hoddle.
Yeah.
Bummer. What else? Anybody else have anything they want to share? I see Aaron's on the call. Aaron from the city of Irvine. Crickets. All right. Anybody else have anything they want to share?
I will.
Yeah, go for it.
I think what most people, that if you work for the city, you realize that so many departments work in isolation. The classic working in a silo.
Yep.
And I'm also, knowing Robin, I live in the city of La Mesa, and I can tell you that I work or volunteer on the Parks Commission, and I know the Environmental Sustainability Commission, and even the commissions don't talk to each other and work together. So it's amazing how much more could get done if people just realize that just a little bit of effort and communication, and more could be done with fewer dollars. So right now the city of La Mesa wants to, as I put it, pave paradise and put up a parking lot in their large community park called MacArthur Park. They want to spend $8 to $9 million just on parking lots and roadways for a $70 million park design that they can't even afford to do. And my major complaint about it is that it'll eliminate a lot of trees, a lot of the existing vegetation, and it's specifically an area that has an existing swale for biofiltration or infiltration, and that we could basically use that area for potential dollars, for grant dollars for stormwater infiltration. And using that kind of mentality, that's many different ways of looking at funding to get parks done. And they look at me like I'm insane. So I just think that there's a lot of ways of looking at cities, a lot of ways of looking at how to get things done. And I think working together is the best way of getting it done.
Well, I'm not familiar with that particular plan, Kathleen, but I'm glad you brought it up. I am on the working group, advisory group for the new CAL FIRE grant that La Mesa has. Dudek Environmental is in charge of their urban forest management plan. And there's about 6 of us who are on a subcommittee of citizens who are working with Dudek to create that plan. And my sense is that it's pretty unanimous among everybody participating that there's a long way to go for the city of La Mesa to get to a point where they're understanding the value and allocation of funding for green space. But I do think that, I mean, that's going to happen here pretty soon. So I don't know what the time frame is on MacArthur Park, but if you want to send me any particulars, I can bring that up so it gets actually addressed sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. I think what La Mesa thinks about tree planting is that they find a park with a field and they'll just plant some trees in there and they said, oh, we're done, versus really thinking about urban forestry. And
Well,
so that's,
this is the second time I've seen that the new trees on University Avenue have been pruned and in some cases topped, and in some cases topped for the second time after the criticism came out the first time. And in one case, they're brand new gold medallions in front of the brand new Starbucks. And they were topped after about the second year they were growing. And I noticed they got topped again like about 2 weeks ago. I don't know who's doing it, but it's got to stop.
How about, yeah, no, there's a lot of stuff happening, and your voices are, it's good to get them out there so they can be heard, for sure. How about, I was
And
gonna say,
there's another concern, Mike, and I think it's important to bring this up at the Urban Forest Council. This is unrelated to the city of La Mesa. I got another phone call from an HOA resident up in Rancho Bernardo. And this person lives in a single family home, but it's an area where apparently there is an HOA. And they called me because they live like 3 streets away from another home who says that the trees on their home, behind their home, are blocking the view for the house like 2 streets up. And therefore, not only do they get fined, but they have to top all the trees. And when I said, well, let's see the CC&Rs on that, the CC&R simply says that there's an architectural committee that can basically say anything it wants. And so I'm wondering if we can, as a board, I mean, we may not have the legal weight, but we do have some regional weight. And I mean, I really think that these HOAs need to be told that this sort of a policy is just uncalled for. And that if we can weigh in as a regional council and say, look at HOA, you know, we're not lawyers, we're simply arborists, and we really think that your policy doesn't make good sense.
I think a best management practice for landscape or tree maintenance, something as simple as that.
I mean, they say that they have a 3-foot corridor they're entitled to. I don't see that in their specs. It simply is an architectural committee where the boss of the architectural committee says, oh yeah, somebody complained, so you got to cut all your trees. In this case, I told them, I looked at the pictures, I haven't been up there, but there were 2 pine trees and 1 palm tree. And I suggested to the party who complained to me that they negotiate to maybe take the palm out, and then that will create some space to leave the pines. But altogether, this sort of policy should be illegal in the city of San Diego. And somehow as a board or as a regional council, you know, if we could write letters just simply letting an HOA know that this is not a good idea.
There are cities that have view ordinances, and Del Mar is actually one of them. You know, so but I think the best compromise is the view corridors. You know, not a wholesale, you know, 360-degree view, but if you have a view corridor, then it at least allows for some trees and the balance out there.
Do you know what that means then, Mike? Because when she said a 3-foot corridor, I didn't understand how.
It just means that they're you know, instead of the topping of trees, you know, can stagger trees so you can see through them. Yeah, it's not just a dense canopy.
Well, I get the general idea, but I mean, if you say you understand it, what would it mean if you're 2 streets away, looking down a hill, and you're at the top of the hill, and you're entitled to a 3-foot corridor? I mean, where do you measure that? Where's that 3 foot? Right in front of your face?
That's a tough one. Yeah, I don't know.
Usually it's in ours.
Yeah.
And very few cities have view laws.
Yeah, you're right, Robin, about that. But it does matter if their CC&Rs have that view corridor protection too, because that's when we get the legal people in and fight against it. But if it's not in their CC&Rs, they don't have anything to stand by.
They don't. It's not in their CC&Rs. The only thing in their CC&Rs is that they say that there's an architectural committee that can basically decide if somebody wants something, that they will cite the offending party.
Well, then give them an alternative for different species that the homeowner could possibly plant as an alternative to what they've got. So you're saying take out the palm. Is there something smaller? So,
Well-
you know, just like the city, like if they have to remove one tree, they replace it with 2 trees. Is there an alternative, or is there a plant palette to make an alternative versus
Yeah, but
just
in this-
saying, no, you can't remove it?
That's a
Or
good
no,
suggestion.
we're going to top it.
Yeah, but I think that when you have existing trees, like existing large pine trees, I just don't think it's realistic to be topping them. And I also think that there really has to be an effort with the climate action plans to simply let HOAs know that topping existing trees is just not satisfactory policy. It may even come back to what their developer actually had said in the first place. It didn't seem to me that there was anything when you bought your home that entitled you to any kind of a view.
Yeah, if
Well,
they're,
that
if
gets
they-
down to
if they're within the
managed
foot,
practice.
if they're within the footprint of a city, there may be some strength to it, but when you're with the county, I don't know exactly what the language with the county's protections are.
This is Rancho Bernardo, that's city of San
Yeah,
Diego.
that would be county. No, oh, Rancho Bernardo? Yeah, that's city. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I was thinking.
City of
somewhere
San
Rancho-
Diego.
I was thinking Rancho Santa Fe for a minute, but yeah, yeah, if it's in the public right of way, you might be able to make a case to defend those trees better.
It's 2 backyards that meet on a slope. So you have basically
Yes.
the person who's
Neighbors.
concerned, the trees are shading their backyard and they're at the top of a hill of somebody else's backyard. And then the people who are concerned are 2 streets away up higher and looking down. I mean, you're talking Rancho Bernardo. It's right. It's not like it's an ocean view or anything.
Right. That's Ann Feggy's hood. You got to get Ann over there.
Well,
Yeah, I
could
don't know.
there
That's a tough
also
one.
be criteria that the group could eventually think about for the value of mature trees and the value of a tree? So it's not just about aesthetics, it's not just about view, but what is the value of a mature tree when it
Yeah,
comes to
there's
climate action,
programs.
for air quality? So it's all that as well that that you should be evaluating.
Yeah, there's programs, the iTree program, you can compute. I mean, there's definitely a case to be made for the value of those trees, and putting a dollar figure on them a lot of times is eye-opening. So that's a very good point.
But if
All I'm asking is that, is there any way that this group, this council, as a group, can not weigh in on a particular case necessarily, but simply be in a position to send, it could be a form letter that just simply says, we are the regional council and we don't think that topping trees is an acceptable idea. We do think that preserving mature trees is a good idea. We can mention the benefits of trees, and we can actually cite whether there are existing view laws or not, which I think Brian could weigh in on. As far as I know, like you say, Mike, there may be some ordinances in a couple of cities. Palos Verdes has them.
Yeah.
There's very, very few in the whole state of California that actually have view laws.
Right. Yeah, Robin, if you want to take a stab at drafting up something, and we could certainly share it for discussion, I don't see a reason why we couldn't support something like that.
Okay.
Absolutely. Cool. Vince, did you have something you wanted to add?
it's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, it's how we get things done, right?
Yep, exactly.
Looks like Isaac's been off mute for a while. I don't know if you have something to add.
Isaac?
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Okay. I see Urban Core is on the call. I don't know who that is at Urban Core, but you want to give us an update? What's going on with Urban Core?
Hey, Mike.
Hello.
I'm driving with a child in the car, so
You're a multitasker.
he's quiet the whole time, so I hope he continue to be quiet. But yeah, the only thing I think is a good, we're about 1,400 trees into our 2,000 tree planting grant, so we're trucking along and waiting another week or so to start replanting, here in the fall. And we have been working with Ann and some tree agencies or tree businesses to look at some workforce program that incorporates Urban Core and maybe another CAL FIRE grant this fall. And there is a program, a UAA program, and I'm again in the car, I'm gonna try to make sense, but at Butte Glen Community College that needs other local community colleges throughout the state to be a part of their program and help. They already have funding, grant funding, so it would be to train young people in urban forestry and to help align with jobs. So we're kind of just waiting on the next step of connecting with UAA to see if Southwestern or Cuyamaca or Miracosta is interested in kind of, and in turn, maybe some of you then would be interested in some kind of program like that. So we're in the weeds of that. Happy to give an update again at the next meeting. Hopefully we'll have really good news by then.
Awesome. Awesome. We actually recently hired one of the former Urban Corps graduates. He's doing a great job for us. So we need more stories like that. Awesome. And thank you for that. Anybody else want to give an update on any of the other urban forestry issues? Brian, was there anything else you wanted to add? Guess not.
Sorry, I'm just turning on my camera here. I did want to piggyback onto what Megan said in regards to South American palm weevil, and of course, as Mike knows, we're chatting about treating some of our street tree date palms on Friday. So we do plan to move forward at least with a couple of blocks as like an initial pilot to treat these date palms, and then see where that takes us, and hopefully we'll identify other groupings of date palms throughout the city of San Diego.
Okay. You started, your mic started diving off there at the end. Is that just me?
I might have been getting hoarse too. So, but yes, just again to repeat, we are planning to treat Canary Island date palms in the streets right away in San Diego, starting with a couple of blocks first, seeing how that goes, and then I think our biggest challenge right now is just identifying date palms that we want to treat.
Brian, is that University Heights by any chance?
That would be one potential location, yes. And the other
Okay, because
potential
I've been getting
location
calls. I've been getting calls from people over there.
Everyone has.
And
Yeah,
I kind of told them I didn't think that the city actually was in a position to apply any kind of pesticides. So, I mean, that's interesting to hear that that would be where funding would go.
Yeah, I mean, the cost of treating these trees rather than removing them is obviously, I mean, it's definitely beneficial in that sense. But again, I mean, we think that we have somewhere in the ballpark of 1,500 Canary Island date palms as street trees, and we're not going to treat all 1,500. So we do want to be selective on where we do those treatments. And University Heights is a little bit tricky too, because part of that is in a maintenance assessment district and other parts.
Yeah, that's the people who called me.
Yeah, and the other trick too is that there's a lot of infected or Canary Island date palms on private property, and we have no mechanism to treat those. So
I have one.
Anyway, that's
awesome.
my update on that.
Cool. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it.
I just wanted to chime in real quick and say, yesterday I attended the update for the palm weevil through UC, and they showed some amazing results of trees that have completely come back. Some that have been have come back after being treated when they were almost all the way gone, and then some that came back without even being treated. So they think the palm weevil just didn't get all the way through the heart, and the trees are recovering. So it's possible, and I was like shocked by some of by the difference. Like,
Oh, you got muted there, Megan. Oh, no,
Great.
there you go.
called there, but yeah. Anyways, they look like they almost fully recovered from being completely dead. So very, very interesting.
Awesome. Yeah, that would be a nice result. And I've seen treated trees that are fine, you know, but that's the key is the treatments. But very, very good.
Both you and I, Mike, have discussed a couple of times on possibly seeing date palms that have bounced back by themselves without treatment. So I guess that's a possibility. But then, I mean, do we still need to treat those date palms? I would probably say yes.
I'd say yes too.
But
Yeah.
yeah, there are some interesting things going out there with the South American palm.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Hey,
Okay.
quick thought
Yes.
here. If I may quickly add, this is Pavitra. As a follow-up to the earlier discussion on the trees in the city of La Mesa, both Robin and Kathleen had discussed about some of the issues. We're currently collaborating with the city of La Mesa, with implementing silver cells, and we've been doing that the last 4 or 5 years. So we can go back, look at some of the trees that they planted, and we have been receiving positive feedback, both from the stakeholders and the city themselves. And we're looking at other development projects in the city. So I would love to reconnect with both of you after this call on the MacArthur Park project and the adjacent streets where the city is envisioning new trees. So I'd love to reconnect. So thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, very cool. Well, it's 1:25 now. If there isn't anything else anybody else wants to add, I think we go ahead. Oh, let me throw in one more thing. We are going to announce an awards program. We've done this traditional awards thing. I don't know how we're going to do it. Probably virtual. I'm not sure. I'm assuming virtual, but we do have our annual awards. We're going to probably put out the notice for those here shortly, looking for nominations for it's the best urban forest council member. I should have wrote this down. The best urban forest project, the best urban forest education program, and there's one more. I'm drawing a blank on what it is, but Vince, is anybody, Delia, somebody else know?
Was it trees and water, or did we change that?
I think we may have changed that, but Megan, do you remember what that was? I don't know. Anyway, we're going to get it advertised, and please put in nominations as soon as you see it, because it's very few things that we in this industry get opportunities to get accolades for, and this is a low-hanging fruit one to help everybody feel supported and take these awards back to their agencies and say, hey, look, told you we did a good job, So, all right. Well, with that, keep your eyes tuned or peeled or whatever that saying is, and we will regroup here next in December. So, all right, everybody. Thank you. Take care. Have a good day.
Bye. Thank you all.
All right. Bye-bye.